Ty.
Hey, Coach. You were talking about a mistake Billy made earlier and talking with him. I know he had that turnover at the end of half. With him, Carter, and Boogie, do you guys maybe talk to freshmen different than, say, DJ, Big C, or some of the other guys, or is it all the same type of coaching when it comes to mistakes and correcting them?
Our alertness and our awareness is shared throughout our locker room. It's not that we uh, single Billy out or Carter out or Boogie out. Sometimes we do have individual conversations with them in terms of what it's going to be, what it's going to be like, and those guys understand. They get the message, right? When they see us as a staff, how particular we are, how we're emphasizing certain things to the utmost, or where it's a nuisance, right? Ad nauseum, we're doing it. And so hopefully they understand the importance of it. Um, yeah, that turnover at the end of the half that Billy had probably would have put us down, I think 13 at that point, could be in a whole different ball game going into the second half. That was a we felt like that was a possession that we would have wanted to capitalize on. But no one possession is part of winning or losing a basketball game. I think it's a um, compilation of a different multiple things that happen in a game that adds up to why you win or lose a game. And so that was good experience for Billy. I think that he'll be better the next time. And again, that was like our first true uh, road game in that kind of environment. And there's no excuse. We got to be better, and we'll be better the next time out. But right now, I think the most important part is us beating Ole Miss.
Ty, you got a follow up?
Yeah, Coach, I know you've been in Lexington. I know that you mentioned the first game here. I guess my question is like Cal's kind of alluded to it, and as of other coaches, like how much more difficult is this league? I know Joe Lenardi's got 12 teams in relative to years past. I think it was 8 in last year, but like just to compare what this terrain looks like to in the past.
It's a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging every night. Um, and we're going to have thick skin. We're going to have stick-to-itiveness. We're going to have perseverance. We're going to have to take some licking and keep on ticking, so to speak. And so, but we're going to dish out our fair licks. We're not. We're not phased by the competition in this league. We understand it, and we know what we're up against. I think, and I don't have a say, but I feel like this is the best league in the country, and it's probably the best league in the history of college basketball, so to speak. This is one of those leagues at this time that is very, very, very tough, very, very challenging from top to bottom. And so we gotta find our way to persevere and fight to get wins.
Daniel.
Hey, Coach. Ole Miss has one of the best turnover margins in the country. I guess what goes into preparing for a team that's so active and causes so many turnovers?
Um, you got to secure the basketball with shot selection and turnovers. And one of our big things is uh, fighting against live ball turnovers. If we can turn the ball over trying to create to get a shot from one of our teammates, that's a different kind of turnovers. So we can accept some of them. We're not a high turnover team, so we don't worry about it. We kind of uh, turn it over right at about the number that we want it to be. We don't want to be at 16, 17, 18 plus turnovers. We want to be 12, 13 turnovers, and that's about where we want to be. And so uh, they don't necessarily press. What they do is they pretty much switch a lot, and they rely on their personnel. And so we can't allow for their switching to allow for us to be tentative and to second guess. We want to stay on the attack and make plays for one another and not have a lot of live ball turnovers. Those are the ones that we can't defend against. We want to make teams play against our set defense, which is one of the best in the country. And so if we can do that and not have live ball turnovers, we'll be fine.
And then
Hutch.
does it help that
Go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
No, you're all good. Does it help that, maybe Boogie has finally seen, SEC play for the first time instead of just talking about it? And, was he under the weather at all? There's some rumors.
I'm not sure if he was under the weather. So that would be for our medical staff. Boogie was in uniform. He was ready to go. We expect to receive his best. So I don't know if he was under the weather or anything like that. But for him to have one game under his belt, he got a lot more left. Like it's this that was just one game. There's going to be challenges every single night out, and so we have to prepare him to work as hard as the challenges that he faced in the game, so that the games become a byproduct of the work that he put in throughout the week leading up to those games. That nothing surprises him.
Hutch.
Yeah, I just got one coach. Coach Cal said he's going to have those individual meetings with guys on Monday. Is that something he does after every game, or is it maybe just he picks and chooses when to do those individual meetings, and kind of how are the players receptive to those meetings?
Very receptive because they're used to it. So he does it when we didn't have games, when we were before the season started. He does it throughout the season. That's just keeping a pulse on the locker room and having a rapport and continue to nurture the relationships of your players. Like that had nothing to do with whether we won or lost the game. He does it a lot throughout the course of the season.
Anthony.
Yeah, one of the things that Coach Calipari had mentioned post game at Tennessee was the free throw shooting. Just how do you, I guess, go about fixing that? Is there any way that you kind of try to, fix that? Is it just kind of like the shots just need to fall? How do you kind of go about addressing that?
Free throws shooting is all mental. We shoot free throws every day. Every day in practice, we shoot free throw. Every individual workout, there's free throws. We shoot free throws every single day. So it's all mental. You got to be tough mentally when you step up to the line, and you got to have the fortitude to make your free throws. And so we're not gonna. We're just gonna continue to practice our free throws, and when guys get up to the line, we expect for them to make them.
And then Chris Beard's teams always have, pretty stout physical defenses. And Tennessee obviously has the number one rated defense in the country for Ken Palm's, I guess, numbers. Just what does seeing a defense like Tennessee's do for you guys, especially right out of the gate going forward to going forward through SEC play?
I feel like we got some good looks. I don't think we made them at the clip we would have obviously wanted to make them against their defense. We were able to create some open looks for our guys, and we took those shots, and we were pleased with some of the shots that we took. And hindsight after a game, you watch the film. Obviously, there's always some stuff you'll feel like you can do better. I'm sure Coach, when he watched the game, he wanted to do some other things, but that's always the case. And Coach is going to continue to put us in the right positions to get the best shots and create good shots for each other. And it's up to us as individuals to make those shots. Mississippi and this league, you got probably 6 or 7 teams that are in the top 25 Ken Palm defenses in the country. So it's just the nature of the league that we're in. Ole Miss is another good defensive team. We're a good defensive team, but we're used to playing against those kind of teams or playing against ourselves even. And when we get our shots, again, I know that guys are waiting in line to get the opportunity to have those same shots. And this time, we have confidence in our guys that they'll make them.
Connor.
Yeah, Coach, last one for me. I was just wondering, y'all have coached in Bud Walton before. It's the SEC home opener tomorrow. Y'all have coached on the opposing bench prior in some big games in Bud Walton. What kind of environment are you expecting tomorrow, and kind of what's that going to be like for you guys coaching an SEC game on the home bench?
That's a good question, a great question, and probably one of the better questions. I was hoping to get that one, because we need for that building to feel like it's felt the times that we've come in here now. We need the fans to support the Razorbacks the way that they've supported them what we've seen when we were the opposing team, and now we're family and we're Razorbacks. And so we wanted to feel the way that it's felt when we've come in here as an opposer, as the enemy, that we need the building rocking. We need the building turned all the way up to help our men feed off of that energy. And so I've seen it before. I've witnessed it before when you can't even call out. And I'm normally one of the loudest persons in the building on the locker room, on the sideline. And our guys hear me when I scream out different calls and I scream out different schematics. Everybody hears me. And I've been in this building before where I have not been heard. And so that is what I need for that building, what we need for that building to feel like.
Ty, do you have the question?
Coach, I guess to go off here, I think Jackson asked you about the guards earlier for Ole Miss, and Anthony just referred to Chris Beard. What makes Chris Beard a difficult coach to game plan against when you have to play these guys either once or multiple times a year?
Again, the motion, right? He's been running that motion since Texas Tech, probably kind of got a little bit of that from the late great Bobby Knight, right? Um, that motion is unpredictable, and the freedom of movement, cutting, screening, right, is hard to scheme against, right? It's hard to scout. It's hard to put a scout team through that, right? Because there is no absolute. There's not a. There is a couple tendencies and patterns, but I won't. But they're for the most part, it's random, and so when you have a random base offense that you got to guard the whole game, you got to trust your rules, your principles. You got to be connected. You can't break. You got to be alert. You got to know that you're going to get screened, but at the same time, you got to watch the ball because here comes a guy driving it. And so they got playmakers all over the floor with 1 through 5. Their fives are like fours, and their fours are like threes. And so when you have multiple guys on the floor that can dribble, pass, and shoot, it's tough to defend against.
And you were just alluding to the crowds that you faced inside of Bud Walton Arena, and not that you didn't have that in Rupp and Lexington, but what kind of crowds not do you just expect this week? We'll see what the weather does, but just the rest of the season with some of the marquee opponents that will step foot inside of Bud Walton Arena.
I have always said when people ask me, uh, now I love being a Razorback, and I'm where my feet is. I love it here, and this has been a great experience for us. But I've always said this, whether I was somewhere else or here. Now, this to me has always been the loudest building in the league. I truly believe that, and I need for that vibe. We need for that feel. We need for it to live up to what I've always thought, and I'm expecting for it to be the loudest building in the league.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.